Have you ever stared at a page, struggling to make your writing sound clear, persuasive, and, professional? We've all been there. Well, a well-built paragraph is the secret weapon. It's the foundation of any strong argument. In this explainer, we're going to build the ultimate blueprint for mastering this skill step by step.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about why paragraphs are so powerful. Then we'll get into the one golden rule you just can't ignore. After that, we're going to break down the anatomy, piece by piece, figure out how to create a seamless flow, and deconstruct a full example. By the end, I promise you're going to have everything you need to write with some serious confidence.
Okay, so first things first. What is a paragraph, really? It's not just a chunk of text you make by hitting the Enter key a few times. Think of it as the core building block of your entire argument. Each one is its own little self-contained unit of thought designed to guide your reader through your logic, one clear step at a time.
Now you might be wondering, is this for me? Well, if you're a creative writer, you've got a bit more freedom. But the blueprint we're covering today, it is absolutely essential for any kind of formal or academic writing. So if you're working on essays, reports, or prepping for tests like the IELTS or TOEFL, nailing this structure is a total game changer.
All right, let's get to the foundation of every, and I mean every, great paragraph. This next idea is so important that if you just get this one thing right, I guarantee your writing will get better, like almost instantly.
Seriously, just one. If you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. This is the golden rule.
And here it is, the one idea rule. It's simple. Every single paragraph has to explore one and only one controlling idea. Think of it this way. If you start a paragraph talking about apples, you've got to stick with apples. If you introduce oranges, you're kind of pushing it. But if you wander off to bananas and then suddenly start talking about monkeys, well, you've completely lost your reader. So remember, one paragraph, one idea, period.
So how do we actually build a paragraph that follows this rule? It's not magic, it's just a simple three-part blueprint. Let's break down the anatomy of it.
Every strong paragraph has these three parts. It kicks off with a topic sentence that introduces the big idea. Then it's followed by the supporting details. That's where you prove or explain it. And it wraps up with a concluding sentence or a bridge to tie it all together and transition smoothly. Let's see each part in action.
All right, first up, the topic sentence. Think of this as your paragraph's little mini thesis statement. It's a clear, general statement that tells the reader exactly what idea you're about to dig into, but, and this is key, without giving away all the juicy details just yet.
Let's look at this example. This sentence brings up the broad ideas of change and a powerful hand. It sets the stage perfectly. We know the topic, but it leaves us curious, wanting to know more. And that is exactly what a great topic sentence should do.
Okay, so once you've made your claim with a topic sentence, you've got to back it up. And this brings us to the supporting details. This is the real heart of your paragraph. This is where you give the reasons, the explanations, and the examples that prove your point. It's the why and the how. And here's that support in action. Instead of some vague claim like companies pollute for money, this sentence gives us a really concrete example. We can actually picture the steel producer, and that makes the argument way more real and persuasive. Trust me, specific examples are your best friend. Finally, you need to land the plane. The concluding sentence should wrap up your main point for sure, but in the best paragraphs, it does something even cooler. It creates a super smooth bridge that leads the reader right into the idea of your next paragraph. See how this works? It nicely summarizes the paragraph's focus on power, but it also cleverly introduces the keyword for the next paragraph, costs. This creates a totally seamless flow and just pulls the reader right along with you. That is a perfect bridge.
So, we've got the structure down, but how do we make the sentences inside the paragraph feel smooth and connected? This is the art of creating flow, and it's what makes your writing feel effortless to read instead of clunky.
There are a few key tricks. First, use bridges not just between paragraphs but between sentences to link your ideas together. Second, mix up your vocabulary to keep your writing interesting. And third, while you don't want to repeat most words, don't be afraid to reuse your main key terms to keep the reader focused on the central idea.
Here's a super simple but powerful example. The writer could have just said, stop. But by changing it up and using cease, the writing instantly sounds more sophisticated, more dynamic. It's a small change, but it shows you're in control and it keeps the reader engaged.
Okay, we've looked at all the individual pieces of the blueprint. Now, let's put it all together. We're going to deconstruct the full example paragraph and see how every single rule works together in perfect harmony.
Here it is in all its glory. Just take a second to read it. Notice that flow, right? It goes from that general topic sentence about power all the way down to the super specific example of the steel producer, and then ends with that beautiful concluding bridge about costs. Everything is connected.
And here's the logic behind it, all laid out. You can see that clear step-by-step progression. Each sentence builds on the one before it, and they're all working together to prove that initial topic sentence. It's a perfectly constructed little unit of thought.
So what's the bottom line? Let's boil everything we've talked about down into a simple, powerful checklist you can use to supercharge your own writing, starting like right now.
Here is your final blueprint. Number 1, stick to that golden rule, one idea per paragraph. 2, build with the 3-part structure, topic sentence, support, conclusion. 3, create that smooth flow by connecting your sentences. And number 4, make your arguments hit hard with specific, concrete examples.
And that brings us to the final question. For you, with this blueprint in your toolkit, the power to build clear, concise, and really persuasive arguments is yours. So think about that next essay or report you've got coming up. How are you going to apply these rules to make your ideas truly shine?